In the final fading light of the First Age, the havens of the Silmarillion, like a guttering candle in a gale, gathered the shattered hopes of all Beleriand. There were the survivors of Gondolin's glory, the sorrowful descendants of Doriath, and the indomitable mariners of the Phalas. Together, they guarded two newborn hopes, Elwing, the heir to the Silmaril, and her husband, the destined voyager, Eärendil. In the year First Age 532, the twins of Eärendil and Elwing, Elrond and Elrose, were born amidst the briny sea winds of the havens. In their veins flowed the lineage of elves, men, and Mare alike. Their birth was like a final gift of a dying age, presaging a new era that belonged to neither elf nor man alone. Yet, Eärendil's heart could find no rest upon this final shore. Gazing toward the western skies and feeling the eternal calling of the sea, he knew that the fate of Middle-earth had reached its end. In First Age 534, he made a grim resolve. He would bid farewell to his wife and young sons and set sail once more, alone, in his white ship Vingilet, built of birchwood. He sought the fabled path to Valinor, that he might carry the final plea for aid from the two kindreds to the Vala who had forsaken them. It was a voyage of utter hopelessness, yet he had no other choice. As Eärendil vanished into the vast expanse of the sea, the terrible oath that bound the sons of Fëanor finally overcame the last remnants of their reason and mercy. In First Age 538, the surviving sons of Fëanor, led by Maedhros and Maglar, launched a surprise assault upon the havens of the Silmarillion. This was the third, and final, kinslaying in the history of the elves. Though the inhabitants of Silmarillion fought with desperate courage, they were no match for the seasoned Noldoran princes. In the ensuing bloody melee, the two youngest sons of Fëanor, the twins Amrod and Amraz, both perished. As the sanctuary neared its fall, Elwing, to prevent the holy jewel from falling into the hands of the kinslayers, clutched the Noglamir and cast herself from the cliffs into the churning sea. Yet, Ulmo, Lord of Waters, would not let her perish. He used his divine power to lift her from the frigid waves, transforming her into a great white seabird, the Silmaril still blazing upon her breast. She beat her wings and flew, traversing the endless ocean in tireless search of her voyaging husband. At last, on a night of tempest and rain, she fell like a plummeting star, exhausted, upon the deck of Vingilet, collapsing into Eärendil's arms. By the following dawn, she returned to human form. At the havens, when the sons of Fëanor discovered the Silmaril was lost and that they had once again stained their hands with the blood of their kin for a hollow victory, they fell into a depths of despair. Maedhros and Maglar found the abandoned Elrond and Elrose amidst the ruins. Perhaps moved by remorse, or perhaps seeing echoes of those they had known, Maglar, the great singer, took the two orphans into his care, raising them with a love shadowed by sorrow. Meanwhile, the survivors of Silmarillion, led by Círdan the shipwright, fled to the final refuge, the Isle of Baelor. By First Age 540, Morgoth had finally achieved his long-held ambition. Save for the scattered remnants upon the Isle of Baelor, the entirety of Beleriand lay prostrate beneath his dark dominion. Yet, just as he believed he had secured final victory, a light unseen before pierced the screen of lies and storms he had woven over the sea. In First Age 542, guided by the holy radiance of the Silmaril upon Elwing's breast, Eärendil's Vingilet finally traversed the Sea of Shadow and reached a shore long forgotten by mortals, Valinor. They were the first of mortal lineage to set foot upon the blessed realm. According to the laws of the Vala, they were forfeit, yet Ulmo spoke in their defense, and Manwë delivered the final judgment. Because they had come to plead for the fate of two kindreds, their transgression would be forgiven. But they and their descendants must make a choice, to be counted among the immortal elves or the mortal men. Elwing, because of her mother Luthien, chose the fate of the elves. Eärendil, though his heart inclined toward men, chose to be an elf that he might remain with his wife. Thereafter, Eärendil, the half-elven messenger, stood within the Ring of Doom at Mahanaxor, beneath the withered remains of the two trees, and recounted to the Vala the boundless suffering of Middle-earth, praying for their mercy and aid. His plea moved the hearts of the Vala at last. The verdict was given. The host of Valinor would launch the final war against the Dark Lord Morgoth. Eärendil and Elwing could never more return to Middle-earth. The Vala hallowed Vingilet and granted her the power to sail the vast firmament. Eärendil, wearing the radiant Silmaril upon his brow, became the brightest star in the night, Gil-Estil, the star of high hope. Whenever night fell, the enslaved peoples of Middle-earth could see this star rising in the west, bringing fresh hope to every despairing soul. In First Age 545, the host of Valinor, led by Eonwë, son of Manwë, landed in Beleriand. The Vanir elves, led by their king Ingwi, stepped upon the soil of Middle-earth for the first and final time. The exiled Noldor joined them. Thus began the War of Wrath. The scale and carnage of this war far exceeded any previous conflict. The very earth of Beleriand groaned and fractured under the collision of the powers of gods and demons. This war endured for more than 40 years. At last, in First Age 587, the host of Valinor stormed the deepest vaults of Ambient. Morgoth unleashed his final, and most terrifying, weapon, the Legion of Winged Dragons. At their head was Encalagon the Black, whose bulk was so vast that his wings blotted out the light of the sun. Just as the host of Valinor neared defeat, Erendil descended from the skies in his ship of light, leading Thorondor, king of eagles, and all the birds of the heavens. Above the firmament, an aerial battle raged for a day and a night. In the end, Erendil slew Encalagon. The dragon's massive corpse fell from the heights, shattering the 3 volcanic spires of Angband, Thengrodrim. With the death of Encalagon, Morgoth's final defense collapsed. He was captured, and the 2 remaining Silmarils were pried from his iron crown. Morgoth was brought back to Valinor, but this time, there was no mercy. His hands and feet were hewn off, and he was cast into the void. The doors of night were sealed behind him forever. Yet, the 2 recovered Silmarils did not find a perfect end. Maedhros and Maglar, after the war, were still tormented by their unfulfilled oath. They crept into the camp of the Valinorian host and stole the 2 jewels. But the holy radiance of the Silmarils scorched their hands, stained with the blood of their kin. Unable to bear the agony, Maedhros cast himself, with the Silmaril he held, into a fiery chasm of the earth. Maglar cast his Silmaril into the endless sea. Thereafter, he wandered the shores alone, singing in lamentation until the end of the world. The 3 Silmarils, one in the heavens, one in the heart of the earth, and one in the deep sea, meant that Feanor's great works could never again be reunited in Middle-earth. The cost of this war was total. Beleriand, the land that had borne the burden of countless heroes and tragic songs, was utterly shattered by the power of the gods' wrath and sank beneath the waves. In First Age 590, the war ended. The host of Valinor returned to the west. The Vala sent forth a summons to all the elves of Middle-earth, inviting them to return to the blessed realm. Many elves answered the call, but a remnant, whether from love of Middle-earth or the pride of their hearts, chose to remain. Among them were the new High King of the Noldor, Gil-galad, Círdan the Shipwright, Galadriel, Celeborn, Celebrimbor, and the half-elven Elrond. They would become the bulwark against the returning darkness in the age to come. The First Age, that long era filled with light and shadow, creation and ruin, heroes and lamentation, slowly drew its curtain upon that broken land. A new age, belonging to the Secondborn, the Age of Men, was about to begin.